Hey folks, I'm Dixon. Today I'm going to be responding to app ideas. Wild Charmander 1992 asks an app that can be integrated with all streaming sites, Netflix and Prime. Basically, I always have the issue of when I go to watch a movie, I'll get halfway through, and then a few days later, when I go to finish it, I'll forget what's happened so far. So I had the idea of an app that sees how far the movie has elapsed and loads up either a video akin to those previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer type snippets, just to reiterate what's happened in the movie thus far, like you're watching a quick trailer. So I know for a fact that one of the other contributors to this channel has built a Netflix stream syncing app that he uses with his partner. So that means the playback APIs can definitely be reverse engineered. It could be against the user policy, but if you're building something for private use or you're just trying to test something, then it shouldn't be a problem and you could give it a go yourself. In terms of threats, Netflix is probably your biggest one because they presumably already have a team responsible for the recaps that we already see. So they could easily task a mobilized workforce with something like this. So thinking about the opportunities, a possible question is whether or not users value recaps enough that they would want to pay for something like this. One of the more obvious paths you could take is ads, but if you can also build this in a scalable way, then you could pitch it to a streaming service who wouldn't have to then build it in-house. So what weaknesses are there? Well, I think building an MVP for this is going to be pretty hard because firstly, how are you going to generate recap content? You either need access to raw video, which results in licensing considerations, or you can stitch together the playback, but that could be challenging to reverse engineer depending on the streaming service. But even if you did have access to recap content, there's going to be some difficulty in determining what to show to your user. Unless you can embed AI to help you do this at scale, manual review is your only option, and that sounds incredibly laborious. Next up, Pizzicato567 asks, just an app that allows for people to find other people on the app working towards similar goals and allows them the option of becoming accountability partners. I've looked it up and a lot of websites seem to instead offer a coach as an accountability partner versus you being able to choose an online partner working toward the same goal. So looking through the comments, it looks like the idea is getting some good reception. One person has even tried making a similar app but couldn't get enough traction. So perhaps the marketing and execution needs to be done differently. Fundamentally, this is a social app, so you need to invest in community building. You really need to understand your buyer behavior. Otherwise, why might people choose this option over some off-platform interest group that they're already a part of? So in terms of possible applications, you could consider adding some features that allow the user to motivate themselves. So if you think about Rise for sleep or Forest for productivity, you don't need to be reliant on user interaction for the end user to receive some value. You could also consider marketing this as a companion service to some existing established service. So career coaches, for example, could use this to keep track of their students' progress and keep records. And one other possibility is marketing this as a standalone service with some sort of scientific merit. So you'd have to engage maybe some researchers who have coverage of this area. Next, it's Vicarious asks, a stupid idea that I had. A QR code is generated for events, example, concerts, family gatherings, vacation trip with your friends. The QR code lets you access a shared album on a cloud-based network. Only people who scan the QR code within a certain time from when it was generated can add and view the photos and videos. You pay a small fee to generate the QR code, or pay a small fee if you want to increase the amount of people who can access the album for viewing or adding content. The person who generated the QR code has the option to close the album, then it just becomes view download only. I have zero knowledge in coding. I have no computer and I am super broke. I have no way in making my dream app a reality by myself. So the idea isn't complex, which means it presents a really good opportunity to analyze the user journey in depth and really strip out all kinds of friction that a user could experience. Ultimately, this will make it simple to build and simple to test. Some really good ingredients for a standout product. Taking Linktree, for example. So monetizing this seems relatively straightforward. It might not be best to charge by each code generated, but you could do so maybe based on some sort of expiry time or the amount of media that's generated. And there's a range of buyer groups that you could target with this. Event planners who might be able to tack it on as an additional offering to their service, or artists who might want to crowdsource a photo album of their performance. One of the things you probably want to look out for is making sure that this integrates well with social media, because that's presumably where people will be sharing most of their photos. Okay, that's it from me. I'm Dixon, and I'll see you next time.